chance. It's got to be more than just that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. Objection! But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. It seems to me this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been solved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Ms. Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. That's a great response, Phoenix. I like that response. I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... Let me guess. It's Emma. God damn it.
Your Honor, wait.
Emma?
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, in a sense?
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dart killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
There's the question. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Yeah, there we are. But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured that if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So you find something?
Not a damn thing. No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
He was murdered in there, then dumped in Edgy's car, then Marshall came back. I wish. Is that all? I mean, we'd know what the hell is going on. As it currently stands, we don't have any reason to believe Bruce was killed anywhere other than, well, by Lana. The suspicious blood pool was as of current from the cut on hey, welcome back, Flair. From the cut on Meekin's hand. Because after his hand was sliced wide open by a big ass knife, he was knocked unconscious and then set in the spot where the blood pool was to basically bleed out there.
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you.
Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be.
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If ever I've needed to concentrate, it's now. Where's Mio when we need her? What could be wrong with that handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? Of course we object. This handprint left at the crime scene. Yeah, we need the Mia Ex Machina right now. Clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans? Maybe my copy of the floor plans that has more shit? Wait. I just realized what's even missing from my floor plans. Exactly. The statue isn't there. Wasn't in the floor plans. It's not even in mine. Let alone the one that Edgeworth is pushing.
What about that piece of plywood?
How the fuck did you get back at the stand? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. I get tired of your bullshit. I have to put up with it at home enough as it is.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So
watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well? Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What?
So that means, just what exactly does that mean? Right? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically.
Emma, shut the fuck up. You're not Mia. You're not Maya. You're not helping.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
I don't think this girl knows the definition of the term scientifically. I don't think this girl knows the definition of much. Yeah, maybe he was actually murdered at this scene. Much earlier.
So that must mean this blood mark was left
there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. And the other was 6 hours earlier and thus deleted. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker. Oh god, I'm just now putting two and two together. I think I know who the murderer is. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. I like him too. This upsets me. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. I don't even really like Gumshoe all that much. Talking for Gumshoe hurts. Very well, then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? It's gotta be the ID card report. There was that one ID that we never figured out. And yes, the chief. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh! The ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Mr. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of a thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at the chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 7777777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID card number 7777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Mr. Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask you a question. Yes. No, not to you, to her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana? Don't be stupid, she's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
Fuck. Not gonna enjoy doing this. How is this even relevant? Thank you, Rogue. It's not. "2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law."
Yeah, the judge doesn't understand anything. His own job or anything involved. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have it.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence.
They are playing musical stands. This is true. Is that a JoJo reference? Never mind. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No. Order, 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 order! Lana's remarks caused such a stir that chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled, and the trial would have to wait until the following day. Which works out because I actually need a break. I can't go anymore. I can't do Lana's voice. Pretty sure if Gumshoe comes back in, I can't do his. I'm starting to have issues with the judge, which means if Gant is coming back in, which I'm pretty damn sure he is, I'm not going to be able to do his voice either, because his is a subset of the judges.